I don't respect Jake Paul as a boxer, and let me tell you why. A lot of people nowadays, they have a respect for Jake Paul because they look back where he came from. Like, he was a YouTuber, he was never a fighter or whatever. But I don't really agree with that, really, because I think if anybody puts their mind into anything, they could always achieve it. Like, if you work hard on it, even if you're not doing 100%, like going crazy, like the people that really compete and really put everything on the line and hold their life for this one sport, that's different. But I'm talking about, like, if you focus on one aspect of fighting and challenge people from, like, just say, let me give an analogy right fast. Just say that I was a chef and I specialize in making numerous different cuisines and stuff. Like, I make spaghetti, like, Italian food, all of this. And it's a baker. He only makes cookies, cake, and all that type of stuff, right? And he challenges me to make some cookies or whatever. And like, that's his specialty. Like, he spent a lot of his time just perfecting making cookies, but that's just something I can do, that's in my arsenal, that I can make cookies or whatever. But let me cut to the chase. Just say that we both have a cooking challenge. We make cookies, 6 cookies, to blow my cookies out the water. Saying that to say that Jake Paul beat Tyron Woodley and he beat Ben Askren. Ben Askren, even in MMA standards, Ben Askren was a horrible boxer, horrible striker. He was like a toddler could be better than Ben Askren on the feet, Like, people were really disrespecting Ben Askren on the feet. And Tyron Woodley, he was never crisp and a good striker. He was like, I hate that narrative that had when Jake Paul fought Tyron Woodley. People were saying that Tyron Woodley was good, like he was a good, nice striker, like he got knockouts in the UFC. It doesn't matter, because if you look at his fundamentals and what he did, he made so many mistakes, but in just strict boxing. But that doesn't matter. That gets blown out the water, because in MMA, people could bypass that. Like, people can make mistakes in boxing because you have so many different tools you could use. You could kick, you could wrestle, you have jiu-jitsu, you have all of these other things. But and if it's just strict boxing, there's no room for mistakes. There's no room for throwing your jabs or throwing stuff wrong and making mistakes or not moving your head. In MMA, that could go by. You've seen that with a lot of fighters. Hamza Chimaev, Vicente Luque, who just lost recently, for not moving his head. In boxing, that's so different. Like, boxing is just, you're focusing solely on that upper body in boxing and footwork and stuff like that. So for Jake Paul beating these two guys that's not even boxers and wasn't even really respected, like stand-up fighters in UFC, it's like, I don't respect him for beating these two guys, It's like, even though they've been training boxing, you have to train boxing if you're trying to do MMA, but it's not strict. Like, everything is not just strict on boxing rules and being able to be in, just only using your hands, because they're used to utilizing their whole body, because they're MMA fighters, And plus, Jake Paul beat a football player too. Like, how does it even count as, like, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. And I feel like if Jake Paul fought an MMA fighter, I would respect him more if he fought someone like Jorge Masvidal or any other guy in the UFC, Someone who actually is good with their hands, and you could look at them and say, oh, he could like, if he boxed, he could be good. Like, don't throw him someone who literally just makes so many mistakes, and they're immune to it now because they've been doing it their whole life or whatever. And it doesn't really matter in MMA. It doesn't really matter if you throw this incorrectly or whatever. Just punch incorrectly, because you have so many other things to worry about. Just like the cooking analogy I gave, it's just like that. So that's one of the reasons I don't respect Jake Paul. And I hate to see it. I see a lot in the media. People like Chael Sonnen, Ariel Helwani, all of these hardcore MMA people. Like, I know Chael Sonnen, he's not, sometimes some of his things could be kind of off a little bit, but Ariel Helwani, like, I never thought he would say something like, respect Jake Paul for beating these guys. Like, you're disrespecting this, this sport, the MMA sport, like, just by, because he's not picking out, he's picking and choosing, because he has a good team around him who tells him, like, oh, don't fight this guy. Like, this guy is clearly, like, he doesn't know this or whatever. And Tyron Woodley was doable, and plus Jake Paul was bigger than both of them. He was bigger than Ben Askren. He was bigger than Tyron Woodley by a lot. And he was like, anyways, that's a whole nother topic. And yeah, I guess you guys could understand now why I kind of dislike Jake Paul. And yeah, fight a boxer. Like, once he fights a boxer, I'm gonna make another video about it and say how I respect him. You fought a boxer, good. But don't call out people from another sport, because a lot of boxers, they won't dare to go into the UFC with just only boxing, because they'll get absolutely destroyed. Even though they're good on the feet, they could just get taken down and then it's busted open with elbows. This crazy stuff could happen to them, Anyways, I'm done ranting. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you do all of that. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm starting up the channel, and if you guys want to debate in the comments, you guys can go ahead and do that. Like, I want to hear what you guys think about it, because it feels like I'm the only guy who's saying this about Jake Paul. Everybody's starting to respect him. Like, I follow numerous different MMA channels. I follow the Weasel, MMA Guru, he's blown up now. But anyways, all of these guys, I follow all of them, and they just all have the same exact opinion too. Like, they respect Jake Paul, and I don't know why. But yeah, make sure you subscribe and do all of that, man. Peace out. Catch you guys later.